How's it going, everybody? It's Pride here and welcome back to another video. Today I'm doing something a little bit different. Today we're going to be doing a pretty much weapon and armor showcase for the Cinders mod. Now, first of all, let me point out, these are only the armor pieces that I've gotten so far when I did my first playthrough, which was not on the, newest update. So this might be completely pointless for a lot of people. If you came here specifically to see all the armors, I apologize. I haven't finished my second playthrough yet. When I first downloaded the mod, I thought I was on the newest update, and I guess I wasn't because they had released one like a week after, and I was dealing with like 5 different games that I was uploading twice a week. It kind of got away from me. I apologize that I wasn't on the newest update when I did my first playthrough, and even now I'm pretty sure I'm not even on the newest update because a lot of people have told me that I'm not. I'm always behind. So first of all, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys a different showcase from each of the weapons. We're gonna go in order. We don't have too many, as you can see here. We have a few, except for the shields. Ignore those. I was too lazy to put them away. The first weapon, we have the engraved dagger. Right now, off the top of my head, it might be just Valorheart, the straight sword Valorheart, but without the shield. But also, I'm pretty sure it might be its own unique weapon. It's got a regular dagger moveset, which is pretty good. Your regular right trigger attacks from daggers, regular weapon art. That's where you get some unique stuff. So we actually have Lothric's straight swords weapon art, which is pretty cool, as you can see there. Gives it a nice little effect as well. And overall, it's a nice looking weapon. I'll definitely give it that much. It looks good. And as for the armor, the first armor set that I am showing off, this is the Burial Knight armor. Looks pretty good. It kind of reminds me of the Flute Knight armor that I believe is in Demon Souls. Never played it, so if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So the next two weapons are pretty cool, but also pretty similar. In my very first playthrough, I did get all of these. They are the different variations that you get. This one's really cute, by the way. They're the different variations that you get out of the boss souls from the Soul of Cinder. So this is the dagger. Really, really cute weapon. It's got a kind of bugged... I forgot. It's got a real bugged weapon art. That's the weapon art right there. And then if you press right trigger, there you go. That's the Firelink dagger, and then we move on to the Firelink straight sword. Looks really cool. Obviously, straight sword moveset. Nothing special. With the great swords weapon art. First of all, a lot of people have asked me how to install the Cinders mod. I'm going to tell you guys right now, I'm kind of lost on that part. I did it wrong the first time that I installed it, but this is actually the one I'm using on my current playthrough. At least I did use for a little while in the beginning. Little baby Moonlight Greatsword. It's got its Moonlight Greatsword weapon art. I just don't have the intelligence for it. But like I was saying, when it comes to installing the mod itself, I'm sorry I can't help you guys. I wish I could. I pretty much try to tell people what I did. Like, somebody had emailed me on how to do it, and I told them pretty much exactly what I did, and it said it didn't work for them. So I don't know if they changed things up. But if you guys know, then feel free to leave it in the comment section down below. It was pretty simple for me. I'd imagine just following a tutorial, even just the text, would be fairly easy to do. So that's about as much info as I could give on, how to install the mod. By the way, look at this baby Gales. So this is kind of like a repeating trend for the mod, which I absolutely loved, by the way. They babied a bunch of weapons, and they also made giant versions of a bunch of weapons. This is basically Gale's. It's got your regular straight sword moveset, and it's got the weapon art from the Firelink Greatsword. That was a really funny add-on to this that I really appreciated. I think it was really well done, and honestly, it was one of my favorite things from the Cinders mod. Just going through the game and finding all these ridiculous new weapons. God, this weapon just looks so good. It's actually the one I'm currently using on my playthrough, but it's not that great on the build that I have it now. It's got your regular great sword moveset, right trigger, weapon art, buffs you up. I pretty much picked it because I wanted to look cool and be accepted, and it's definitely one of the coolest weapons. And speaking of one of the coolest weapons, the baby female to greatsword, which I did use for a little while in my first playthrough. I kind of wanted to switch a little bit back and forth. I did a dex build, I did sort of a strength build, a quality build in my first playthrough. And this was definitely one of my favorite, and honestly, one of the most insane weapons that I used in the whole playthrough. Like, this thing with 60 strength is just a monster. I absolutely loved using it. One of my favorites, for sure, in the whole playthrough. And then we have the Dranglaic Greatsword. I'm pretty sure that people told me this is it's the Moonlight Greatsword from Bloodborne, I believe. I'm pretty sure that's what people told me. It's got its regular stomp weapon art that greatswords have, and your regular old moveset. Definitely a good moveset. That Claymore moveset that is just so insane on greatswords. But also another thing that they did, which was really cool, was have a ton of Bloodborne weapons. Some of the Bloodborne weapons, especially in the second playthrough that I'm currently going through, they did add a ton more apparently, and a bunch more armors. So that's why I kind of wanted to do this and pretty much just show the older stuff that I got, and then maybe in the future, in the end of the second playthrough, maybe I'll even update and do a third playthrough if things are still interesting and fun, and then showcase those new weapons and armors, because I don't want to make a 1-hour video with absolutely everything. And they also might remove things, which they pretty much did. As you can see, if we go to my inventory, there's a bunch of these things that they had removed, including like rings and stuff. Now this helmet you guys have most likely already seen, even if you're on Xbox One, PS4, or PC. You see a couple of these showing up on PS4. I'm pretty sure I even have it on PS4. A bunch of different people have dropped it for me. This is the Hexer set. Another cool thing that this mod added was armors have specific stats. So for example, if we go over here to the Hexer set, you can see the effect that it has is grants additional FP recovery. For my entire first playthrough, there was always a slow recovery for the focus points. It was always recovering. It's not like the original game where you drank the blue and you had to drink the blue, or even, you know, the update that I'm currently on for my second playthrough, which by the way, I really liked the addition from my first playthrough where the FP would recover consistently, because you could add things like this to make them even faster. So hopefully they bring it back, or they might have even brought it back. I think people told me that they might have updated it back. Even though it makes it look kind of dumpy, it's cool armor. Alright, another set of weapons. The first one, the Blue Moon Greatsword. I believe this is the Greatsword from Dark Souls 2. I'm not sure if it has the exact same design. I think it might be the Bloodborne design again. But damn, this is a good looking sword. I love the color. It just looks so good. The color is so cool. It's got your stomp weapon art moveset. Regular stomp of an ultra greatsword. Or excuse me, a greatsword. Then we have the Sword of Avowal. This is one of my most surprising weapons when I first saw it, for sure. Because it has this, right? It's a regular greatsword. Like, it's already funny that you're swinging this thing around. Oh, and then let's go ahead and just give it Gale's weapon art moveset. It's pretty hilarious, but super cool. Which, by the way, super cool is going to be a repeating trend for me when talking about all these things, because the mod was just awesome, man. It was so fun experiencing it for the first time when I played it, you know, finding a bunch of new weapons, especially since Dark Souls 3 had started getting pretty stale for me. And I was kind of doing the same thing with PvP. And the Cinders mod honestly kind of reignited the love that I had for the PvE. It was kind of like, you know, going through the game for the first time again. It was so much damn fun. This weapon is awesome, by the way. Greatsword version of the Irithel Straight Sword. It just looks so good. That's the thing about a lot of these weapons too. Like, obviously this is just a big version of the Irithel Straight Sword, but it looks good. Like, it doesn't look weird. It doesn't look like morphed. Like, it looks like it belongs. By the way, that effect is not part of the sword, I don't think. I think that's just, I don't know why that's happening. I'm being hacked, I think. The very first weapon that I found that was a cut content weapon, and this is Velka's Rapier. It looks really good. It's got your, you know, S-stock moveset, regular old rapier moveset. The best part of it for sure is the way it looks. It looks really cool. Then we have my favorite weapons from the whole Cinders mod, at least so far. The goddamn gold and silver tracers. Man, it really didn't get cooler than these weapons when I found them the first time. They have their own unique moveset. They have the light effects. During my first playthrough, they were just so overpowered and insane that they were so much fun to use. There's a lot of good things in this mod, but I don't think it's gotten better for me than finding these weapons and using them. And just annihilating bosses instantly. And then finding out, like, towards the second half of pretty much the end of the playthrough, that I didn't even have them fully upgraded, and they were still that damn good. These are great weapons for sure. And then the next weapon we have is a weapon that I found in my second playthrough, the Pursuer Greatsword. Obviously, it's not going to look absolutely perfect, but the modders just did such a great job with some of these damn weapons and putting them in the game. Because this also looks great. Probably got Stomp, right? Yeah, it's got Stomp moveset. I actually haven't used this one at all since I'm doing the caster playthrough on my second playthrough right now. But maybe I'll get around to some of those actual weapons as the playthrough progresses. The Giant's Armor is the next showcase armor. This one looks freaking awesome. The face, I don't know, the face looks awesome. It always makes me laugh every time I see it because it's just, that's your face. It's a little hole that they made for it. When I look at armors like these, it baffles me that they didn't put them in the main game. Like, this looks so cool. It looks finished. I wonder why it wasn't in the main game. Maybe it just didn't fit, you know, the story or something. But of course, like a bunch of other things, the modders did a good job putting this and a bunch of other armors and actually having them look good. All right, we got a lot of weapons to go through still, so I'm gonna go ahead and speed shit up a bit. The Bone Rapier, tiny little rapier, got a very cool look to it, but you know, regular moveset, nothing special when it comes to the Bone Rapier. Then we have the Rapier of the Firelink. Oh, that's what it's called. A very cute rapier that we got from the Soul of Cinder, which, by the way, this I think is a parry. And I don't know if this parry even exists in the actual game. I think this is like a unique parry of its own. Or maybe it's just not doing the parry animation from rapiers? Or maybe there's a specific rapier that has this parry. I'm not entirely sure, but it's got your rapier moveset, and it looks nice. Another baby weapon. Also one of the first baby weapons that I found that I sadly never got to use. I bet this thing is kind of a monster. I can imagine this thing being really damn good. Sadly, never got around to using it. Also has the big flame slam down moveset, but I don't have enough intelligence to use it. Excuse me, strength. I'm too much of a weakling. And then we have the Missionary Axe. I feel like if this axe actually existed in the main game, it would be so good for PvP. Oh wait, I just realized they changed the move. I literally just realized they changed the moveset because it used to have, what the hell? It's a great axe now. It used to be a regular axe. Wow, I actually haven't tried this weapon at all. Maybe we'll get surprises as we move on in the list. But yeah, this was a regular axe and it had the quick swipes that the regular axes have, and it was really damn good. So I always thought like this would be super dominant if it was in the actual game, mainly because of the range. It would probably still be pretty good as a great axe, but as a regular axe, it would be just top tier. And another weapon from my second playthrough, one of the newer Bloodborne weapons, the Beast Hunter Scythe. This thing looks so good, man. Like, it seriously, it looks right out of Bloodborne, like perfect. It looks exactly the way the weapon looks. Obviously, I don't even need to say this, right? But it doesn't transform. Imagine if it did, but it doesn't. It has good R2 attacks and some nice range, regular moveset of the axe. And when you two-hand it, it has that right trigger attack. Alright, back to back baby weapons. The Tailbone Club. Pretty much the Tailbone Spear, but in club form. With that moveset, which that is kind of cool. And then we have Yorshka's starter weapon. This is what she beat her maid with for the first time. Regular hammer. That weapon art. I can't imagine her doing that without breaking her spine. Have you seen how tall she is? And she's not like chubby or stronger. She's nothing but bone and skin. She wouldn't twirl around like that. And then the baby mace, which I also never got to try out, but is probably pretty damn good. They did obviously lower the amount of frostbite that you get on this thing, because if it had the adult version's frostbite, it would probably be too overpowered. But another cool baby weapon. It's got perseverance. But I guess as we swap armors, I would love to hear, you know, your guys' opinion on the Cinders mod. You know, do you think that it added a bunch of nice things? One thing I would be really interested in is, what do you think it did better than the actual creators of the game. You know, there's a couple tough things to say, like, you know, they did better spells and stuff like that. It is a little bit harder when you know that From Software has to balance all that shit properly, especially for like player versus player. And I know you can play PvP if you're like banned and on a specific server, but it's not like part of the main game. I'm sure the guys who are making the mod, the group of people, maybe even the one person, isn't really focusing too much on player versus player. Look at Mort's cute hammer! So you can't necessarily blame From Software too much for like not going absolutely insane with some of the spells. But I definitely think that the modders did a really good job coming up with some fun spells and changing up some of the spells to make them way better and more unique. You know, something like Way of White Karana. They did such a good job with Way of White Karana. Even though it's still not the greatest, it's Way of White Karana. Just times 100 and improved times 100. But by the way, this is also the Tantris from Bloodborne. And I got it in my second playthrough. I believe they added a bunch of new Bloodborne things for the second playthrough. Like way more Bloodborne things than the first one. By the way, in my first playthrough, I probably missed a fair amount of things. I hopefully didn't, but I probably did. The baby Pontiff scythe with the moveset of the Pontiff curved sword. Look at this monster. I can't pick this one out. This is from Bloodborne, right? I can see it being in Bloodborne because it has like the wrapping on it that you see a lot of the Bloodborne weapons have. I'm pretty sure it is, maybe even like a bigger version of something that's in that game. But this weapon looks brutal, man. Like, I bet this thing would be ridiculous in PvP. It's got, I don't think Perseverance, I think it has Galvanize, which is just garbage. Then we have another one of my favorite weapons from the whole mod, the gigantic chicken leg. This weapon is so good, or at least it was good when I used it in my first playthrough. The stagger of this thing is just on another level. Big moves. If you have like full strength on it, it's super, super strong. And it's got that spin moveset. And with a specific build that I had where the spin moveset took like a tiny little thing of stamina. One of the most overpowered weapons I used in my first playthrough, 100%. Now we have the last of the Firelink weapons that I was able to get and did get. This is the spear version. It has your regular old spear moveset, right trigger attacks, weapon art that for some reason I can't do. I think this might be glitched out or like bugged out. Pretty sure it is. Then we have another weapon, which was a boss weapon for the tree boss that I also got in my very first playthrough. It's got the same moveset as the big chicken leg, you know, being a great club. Never got to use it myself when I was doing my strength portion of my build, but it seems like it would probably be a pretty good weapon. Next we got another, I think this is the most recent weapon that I've gotten in my new playthrough. The Forlorn Spears. I'm pretty sure they're also, again, they got the wrapping. I'm pretty sure they're from Bloodborne, but they look so good. Got the regular moveset that you have in the main game with the dual spears, but they look fantastic. Like, it just gives it so much more of a badass look to it with the wrappings. I think this is a much better version of the spears that we get in the main game. And now for three of the coolest weapons, back to back to back. This is the Ancient's Dragon Halberd. I believe people told me this was supposed to be like a cut content boss weapon for the Ancient Dragon. It wasn't a boss weapon when you get it. I think you just find it. Never got to upgrade it all the way, but you know, it's got kind of like your regular old scythe moveset, nothing too special to it. And it has that. It could spin forever, which I believe is new and wasn't in my first playthrough. So this is also something that they changed up, I guess, with the update that I'm currently on. But it definitely has one of the coolest looks to it, in my opinion. And before I forget, let me go ahead and swap armors. How badly do you want me? I look so dumpy in this armor, but this is Yorshka's dress, and I think I might get married in it. I like the veil. I like the cloth physics of the veil. It looks like if you spin enough, it could choke you, and you wrap it around your neck. But it's very translucent, very cool. Kind of reminds me of the dancers, but like a much better version. I feel like it kind of would get annoying constantly running around and seeing this thing flopping everywhere though. But if you go fast enough, it kind of looks like it's just your hair, and that's also kind of cool. Then we have the Firekeeper mask, which is something that I wish was in the main game. because I want to cosplay the Firekeeper and beat the shit out of some people in the main game and in PvP and invade some people with this thing. I think it would be super fun, but we'll never get to do it. Then we have the Iron Keeper helmet. Cool looking armor. It's all like beat up. I believe this is also from Bloodborne. This is the Mask of Velka. I only found the mask, nothing else. The Gargoyle helmet from Dark Souls 1. Looks awesome. One of my favorite helmets from that game. It kind of looks like it's drawn on with crayon, but again, you can only do so much with mods, and they did a good job. And my favorite of them all, the gold cone from Bloodborne. This was one I used for pretty much my entire first playthrough. This one looks perfect. No complaints about this one. Absolutely perfect. And for the final full set that I myself found, and wasn't like boss armor or anything like that, or I bought them from the old hag over there. This is the Vile Blood armor from Bloodborne. Looks a little weird, you know. I feel like this is one of the few that looks like it doesn't fit in. But I still think it overall looks pretty cool. And I might as well go ahead and show you the last couple of weapons. One of the coolest weapons, Lothric's Scythe. Honestly, I think this might be like top 3 of the best looking cut content weapons that they ended up putting in the Cinders mod. You know, it's got your regular little scythe moveset that is absolutely garbage, and everybody would always beat you in PvP with this. Except me, because I'm the best. Then we have the Irithel Lance. Pretty much just like a giant spear or a great lance version of the Irithel Rapier. But again, man, like it doesn't look weird. It looks super fitting. It looks fantastic. The next few are staffs, and there would be no reason to show you guys other than, well, they have actual movesets, and you can use them. And some of the movesets are pretty good. Like this one, completely unexpected, and then, uh-oh, you get bodied with a couple fancy-ass spins. Imagine a guy pulls this out, shoots a spell at you, and then just fucks you up. Definitely super cool and unique with some of these movesets for that weapon. That one, the Murky Longstaff, might be my favorite. But yeah, man, the staffs were super weird. Really, really added to it if you wanted to go for some type of mage build and just wanted to beat the shit out of a boss if he wants to try something. It really gives you some added attack power to that build. And for the final weapon, which I pretty much never used, the Censoring Palm, which is basically your fist, except you have good scaling and you could infuse your fist, which is a really cool addition if you want to go for some type of fisting build, which I never did, but maybe I will do in the future. Who knows? This would maybe be the only way I would ever do that. But either way, everybody, that is going to be it for the showcase of armors and weapons. Hopefully this video wasn't too long. I didn't really showcase stuff like the shield or like the pyromancy flames that were new, or the talismans. I don't know if people really have any interest in those, but this mod did so much to rekindle my love for this game. I seriously loved going through the first playthrough. It felt unique. Even though I don't play the PvE for Dark Souls 3, and I did, I think, you know, a couple of playthroughs. I did the first 3 playthroughs, and then I only really did like very short, quick playthroughs getting through the game, and it was almost like a I had to do it whenever I would make new builds and stuff like that to go and do invasions at lower levels or higher levels. But going through the game with the Cinders mod and finding all these new weapons and armors and spells and paths to go through, the way they added mechanics and added effects to armors, changed infusions, it was super unique. The guys who worked on this, or the person who worked on this, I'm not entirely sure if it's a group of people. They did a great job, and I hope people will actually, you know, go and experience it for themselves if you guys end up learning how to download the mod. I'll link the mod itself in the description if you want to check it out. There's no way people made it this far, but if you did, I seriously appreciate it so much. Thank you guys very much for watching. There's probably another video up today that isn't just me showing weapons and talking into a microphone, so you can watch that if you want. I still got a few more things to go in my second playthrough, and of course Daughters of Ash. I don't have enough good things to say about Daughters of Ash, but we haven't even finished that so far, so maybe I'll do another showcase if we end up getting new stuff for Daughters of Ash in the future. But for now, I'm gonna head out. You guys have a good day. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Peace, everybody!